Welcome to my channel. My name is Sierra Hill. No, this is not a welcome to my channel, but this is welcome to my motherfucking podcast. Welcome to Right on the Spot. My name is Sierra Hill, your host. Today we have Araya. She is going to be joining us in a short interview, and then she's going to do our Right on the Spot challenge. We spin the wheel, and then she gets a random prompt, and then she has 5 minutes to brainstorm and 20 minutes to write her story, and then she has to read it to the audience. So today I am looking forward to seeing how Araya's writing mind works, how she constructs a story with only 20 minutes, and her storytelling style and voice. So if you like these kind of videos where you see your favorite AuthorTubers taking on the challenge of writing on the spot and letting me pick their brain, go ahead and hit like and subscribe. Grab your favorite drink, blanket, snack, and join me in my interview with Araya. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so my name's Araya Rasmussen, and I recently started sharing my writing journey on YouTube, I think back in December, and I've just been sharing the journey of basically revising at this point because that's where I am in my draft. I do a lot of vlogs and just showing my real journey of hopefully writing and publishing this book. I am 26 and live in the Pacific Northwest and just love everything outdoors. I have a husky named Mina who's usually in my videos. Yeah, that's just a little bit about me.
Okay, excellent. So let's hop right in. Who are some of your biggest influences or inspirations, both in writing and in life?
So for me in life, it has definitely been my parents. They have pushed me to be a lot more outgoing and have pushed me to love the outdoors. And that's what I write about is nonfiction and my adventures of being outside and hunting and all these things. And they've pushed me to do those things. But also since I've been writing my hunting memoir, which is my current project, they have pushed me to do it. And they're my biggest supporter is my parents. And then like in writing, I don't know if I really have a specific author or anything, but I feel like since I've been watching AuthorTube of like July or early fall of last year, I feel like watching fellow writers in the same spot of like the revision trenches and stuff has really pushed me to want to keep going when I hit that second draft slump, and just seeing all that work I had to do. I feel like watching other people's vlogs and tips and stuff has just really helped push me past that point and finishing draft 2. Mm-hmm. And so those are kind of both my inspirations in life and in writing, I guess.
Okay, good answer. Can you tell us a bit about what actually got you into writing? Did something inspire you to start writing, or when did you realize you wanted to start taking it seriously?
I've been writing off and on since I was like 7 or 8. I mentioned it in an AuthorTube newbie video, but I just throughout the years, I did little stuff like that, like documenting it. And I got really serious about it probably in college. I took a creative nonfiction class. Can you hear that?
Yeah.
Do you want me to restart? I've just written down things that have happened in my life and documented it and shared it with others. I got really serious about it when I was in college. I took a creative nonfiction class, and when I did that class, we had several different prompts for short stories that we did. And the biggest one for me was writing down the first bear that I had gotten when I was little, like 12. I wrote down that story, and my professor really pushed me to work on it. Mm-hmm. And then when we had our final, we had to work on one of our topics from the year and read it out loud in front of a restaurant in our classroom. And I think when I had to read it aloud, and I was like, oh my gosh. So I just worked up that story, and I finished up the conclusion a little better and read it aloud to everybody. And everybody enjoyed it, and my professor loved how I had wrapped it up in the end. And then I read it out loud to my parents, and they really loved it. And they were like, you should pursue this. And I wish I had, because I got a degree in history, but I feel like I definitely should have done some writing sort of degree, whether it would have been creative nonfiction or journalism or something. But I think that really brought out that love for writing something like that. And then when I started writing my hunting memoir back in 2022, that's when I got super serious and actually started plotting everything out and started the first draft. So it's been a very slow going process.
That's usually how it starts. Something will inspire you, something will spark you, and then you might touch base on it a little bit and then come back and forth to it. Because that's exactly what happened with me at first. When I first got inspired to start writing, I quit for a little bit, and then I was like, I just can't leave it alone. It just keeps coming back to me, these ideas, you know? So
Yeah.
you're a writer. You're going to be a writer, whether you like it or not.
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I think you did kind of answer this a little bit, but as far as style goes, how would you say your writing style is? Is there anyone, maybe an author, that you could say is kind of the same style that you have, or what kind of style do you have?
I don't know if I know an exact author, but I would say I do creative nonfiction, and then I have a very strong narrative voice when I'm writing. And so you get my internal monologue when I'm writing, and it's just very narrative driven. You're in my perspective and you're going to get everything about it no matter what. And I feel like also with my own reading with fantasy and just other genres has really pulled into my nonfiction. So I would also say like my writing style, I have a lot of action within my stories because it is these actual adventures. And so I try not to pull in too much like backstory and all this extra details. Like I'm not a very descriptive person. Like you're not going to know every detail of what I'm seeing outside.
I know what you're saying. So like, this is a little bit off topic, but what other type of genres have you tried to write?
I can say that I've definitely gone down the rabbit hole of trying to start my own fantasy project because I read so much and I'll get like little bits and pieces here and there, but I feel like with my hunting memoir, it's been my passion project. And so whenever I get sidetracked, I don't touch it forever. And then I just really want to get this done and then go maybe a different direction. But I definitely have gone other ways. I've done short stories about fishing, camping. It just kind of depends.
Okay. Yeah, I was wondering. I was like, because you said you write fiction and you like to write fiction, so I was wondering, you said you read fantasy. If you've tried to write fiction, or if you wanted to actually go that route at any point, like publish any type of fiction aside from that avenue. So okay, now I know a little bit more about you. Have you ever had a moment of doubt about your writing career? How did you push through that period?
So I definitely had a doubt when I first started like actually writing these sort of pieces in college because I was like, I have so much other things going on. I don't have time for this creative freedom or this creative project. And like I just put it on the back burner and didn't touch it for a long time until I had the time, the space to think about it. And so I would say about that point. And then recently, when I was in draft two, I was having a really hard time. Like I went through the first few chapters and I was like, well, I'm going to go back through them again and then send that chunk off to beta readers and then just slowly do that. And it just didn't work for me. And so I didn't touch it for a while until I finally was like, no, I'm just going to go through this whole book and then go back and go through it again and then send it to my beta readers. And so I was really struggling at that point. And like I mentioned earlier, when I started watching AuthorTube, it really helped me get through that. And just seeing like you just got to push forward sometimes, even if it sucks. Like you just can't doubt yourself sometimes because like that's my thing. I'm like, my writing sucks, it's horrible, but I'm also like, this is the second draft. It still needs all that extra work. And I think when you're first in it, you're like, you're doing all the first draft and drafting and it's so fun and stuff, and then you read it back and you're like, oh, this is horrible. But like that's the process of writing, is making it better. And I feel like you don't realize just how much work it takes. And I don't like revising, but it's what makes it better. So
Right. Exactly. And that's what I tell people all the time. Because little Miss Jordy, if she's watching this, well, she's stuck right now on one part of her story because of that. Because she has this perfectionist person in her brain that's like, this has to be perfect before I move forward. And I just try to tell her the same thing. Like, it's gonna suck. Like the drafts are good, they're supposed to suck. And then after you get the story out, that's when you can worry about, okay, perfecting it. So yeah, Jordy, stop it. All right. What are some of your writing goals for 2025?
So the biggest thing for me, I think, would be to get through a couple more drafts and just get to the point where my book is ready for querying and then start my query package and going through that. I would love to start querying by the end of the year, but I know that a lot of agents aren't really looking at stuff with the holidays. So I think I'd like to have the book in itself done by the end of the year and then start querying like March of next year or something. I think that's my biggest thing. So just pushing through the next few drafts is the year's goal.
Right. Okay. So are you just mainly considering traditional publishing, or is there like a part of you that may consider a self-publishing option, or what are your views on traditional versus self-published?
So with it being a memoir, I have thought about self-publishing, especially because you lose that creative freedom sometimes. But the biggest thing for me is I am not going to be great at marketing, and that's what you kind of need to be able to do with self-publishing. But I feel like if I do have issues with traditional, and I have my own title and my own thoughts about things, and if like I get pushed back on that, I think I would definitely think about going the self-published route. So I guess it just kind of depends. The farther I go, I'm sure I'll have more thoughts on it, especially as I start to query. But
Right.
I mean, I would like to go traditional.
Okay. And you know what? I hope everything goes great for you. And don't listen to because you'll see a lot of things online about traditionally publishing, memoirs. Because there was a point where I was working on mine heavily, and they'll try to say, like you can't, if you're not an important person or whatever, that it's very hard to get an agent for a memoir. But that's not true. It's just completely not true. If you have a good story, then that's what matters. So just if you hear any of that negativity, just block it out.
Yeah.
Because I've never read a hunting memoir before. I think that's interesting because I grew up in North Carolina and Virginia, and that's all we do around here. And I've never read one. There may be some out there. I've just never read one before.
Yeah, I have one right here that I've read that is very similar. And
okay.
Yeah, and hers is in Idaho too, but hers is really, really short. But
how many pages is that?
It's not even 100.
Okay.
It's 67. So.
60. So that's like a novelette.
Yeah.
Probably novelette.
Yeah. But reading this really inspired me because I was like, this person, she self-published it too, I think, on Amazon. I was like, this could be me. I could be holding my book in the future. So I was like, that was nice.
So how many pages are you aiming for yours?
I think mine's 300 and some. I would like to be under 300 because I have gotten to the point that I know my market and my audience is going to be mostly guys because it's hunting. So I've been trying to keep it on the shorter end. So as I have my beta readers going through it, I'm going to see if there's any like chapters maybe I need to cut or if it does need to be shorter. So I know that is a worry.
Right. All right. You got things under control. Is there a favorite character that you have ever written and why?
Honestly.
And made up too. Don't be yourself.
I can't just pick myself.
I mean, if you know it, you can, but I'll let you if you want to. But is there like
that was my first thought.
I knew you was gonna say that. And you know what? I'm gonna let you slide because you look like you will be a good character. All right, what is your latest? Well, we know your latest project.
You want me to give a better description?
Yeah. Give us some more details.
I've been trying to include that in my videos and stuff because sometimes I just kind of mention who I am and the title of my book and then I move on. But so I kind of talk about my hunting memoir as it's a collection of short stories of adventures my dad and I have been on since he bought his outfitting business back in 2000. Well, he bought it in 2008, and I have like a prologue about when he bought it, and then it starts in 2009 and goes till 2023. And just throughout the book, you see us dealing with all these different issues, like literal and figurative bumps in the road as we go. and you'd see me struggle along with my own insecurities. Like I battle with gun shyness and just own self-doubt, and like you just see what it means to hunt as a way of life. And so each story has something different going on. Learn things as I go along because every hunt is different.
Well, see, you don't try to play me with this question neither. If you could live in the world of one of your books or stories for a day, which would it be and why?
See, my answer would be to be at camp or just out in the mountains somewhere and just stay out there. I just
Okay.
love nature. Like I would definitely be the author that would live in a cabin in the woods and never come back and just write her own little stories.
I would too.
Yeah.
All right, so off topic. What's the crazy, not the craziest thing, but what's your what do you call it, like your prize, like that you've I don't want to say killed, but that is what you do have that you got during a hunt. What is like something that you're very proud of?
So it's the hunt that I actually end the story on or my book on, and it's the bear that I got in 2023. Like it was huge. It
Oh,
was,
okay.
but the thing is, it was really beautiful. My dad's getting it live mounted for some hunting shows, but the meat was not as great because when they're older, it's a little tougher. But like my thing is, I like to bear hunt because I like to eat bear meat. Like
Okay.
we eat everything that we hunt, so I would say that. And then I got a buck with my mom last year, and that was awesome. The thing is, we killed ours right next to each other, and somehow I was on the bigger one and we swapped, and I got the smaller one. But I was just so happy because my mom had gotten hers. But
Oh, so you got the bigger one. That's what you're
no,
saying?
she did.
Oh, she got the bigger one. Okay.
Yeah. But I feel like that time I didn't have any issues with the gun. I just shot the one time and I was done. And I've had issues where I've had to shoot a few times. So I think just conquering that was probably one of the biggest things for me.
Okay, with your bears and stuff like that. Oh no, like I've killed a deer before, but I've never. I don't mess with them bears. You good for that one right there. What's the weirdest thing you've Googled for research purposes in your writing?
I was trying to think. I couldn't really come up with like the weirdest. I just know I've Googled like random gun parts because I'm not good with all the technical terms. Like gun parts, the tracking equipment my dad uses, like different things about animals. But I think the biggest thing is that I'm not in the drafting phase right now, so I don't really remember everything that I've Googled. But I know I'm really bad about looking up synonyms of words because I'm like, I don't know what's something better for this word.
Right. Me too. Okay. What's the strangest place or situation you found inspiration for a story?
The thing for me is I've always had a very overactive imagination. And so when I'm bored, I'm in my own little world. So, I mean, it's been in the car, around a campfire, while I'm in the shower. And then when I was hunting with my dad in like the fall or spring of last year, we were on like the worst road imaginable. And I was so bored. And I was like, it just hit me. I was like, I need a prologue for this book. And so I went on my notes app and just started typing away. And so it just depends, like just inspiration or when you're bored and you're just letting your mind wander. Sometimes I think that's when it happens the most.
It does. Definitely at the most random times. Like you said, like I'll be doing something and I'll be like, that would be something good that my character could say, and then just gotta go write it down real quick. So yeah, I definitely understand that. You were stuck on a deserted island with only one book. Which book would it be and why?
I was trying to figure out something like when I was younger. For me, Princess Academy was a book that I read like over and over again. But recently, I don't like rereading books, so I don't like have a comfort book. But I feel like if I was stuck on an island, I'd want some like a book that was really good about vegetation or weapons or something that would help me survive the island. Maybe that's something I would go for, or maybe just like a really hard book you could use if you needed it to
Right.
survive.
With a lot of papers.
Yeah, fire starter.
Yeah, like a survivalist book. Okay, which is smart answer. Have you read the Hatchet before?
Yeah, I think we did in high school.
Yes.
I think we had to read. Our teacher actually, I think, read it aloud.
Yeah, that's where I heard it the first time. I was like, this is actually a good book. It was good. All right, and you know what time it is today. You know what you know what time it is, and I know what time it is. All right, it is time for Araya to spin the wheel today. So this is where the fun happens. We already know we're about to bring out the wheel. She's gonna spin it. Well, I'm gonna spin it for her, and she's gonna get a random prompt, and then she's gonna have 5 minutes to brainstorm, and then 20 minutes to write the story live for us. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna bring up the wheel. Are you ready for this? Are you excited? How do you feel?
Yes, I'm excited. I did practice earlier this week. I was like some short story prompts. I was like practicing on a break at work. I'm like, but yes, I
Okay.
am.
All right. Well, let me. All right. Now we are gonna spin this wheel, and we're gonna see what you get today. So let's hope it's something good. Are you ready?
Yes.
Okay. Me too. I'm ready to. I'm ready to see. Ooh. Uh-oh. Oh heck no! You got the technology working with you. All right, let's see. Oh, so I'm gonna read it, even though we can all read. What's cooking? As your character watches the hibachi chef prepare their meal, something seems off. What is it? This can go a lot of different ways. Let me just tell you.
I'm like, I don't even know what that is.
What, you don't know what the hibachi chef? You know, like when they cook in front of you.
Oh, yes, but what are they cooking?
Exactly. You tell us what they cooking. Something's weird going on. Pure life. And you know what? They got the mascots on the water bottles. Collect all of them, all 24 mascots, and you might get some. All right, now we got 5 minutes going on the clock, and Araya is going to get to her brainstorming. And here we go. In 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boom. We've began. No pressure.
Oh my goodness.
First of all, very smart having this template already.
Yeah, I was like, ooh.
Right, we got a minute and 50 on the clock.
Okay.
Okay.
Just Googling stuff. I'm like, I don't know.
We'll see what we got. Okay, 20 seconds. Ooh, and the off the board. Look at this. She's still going. Look at it. That would there. All right. Okay. All right. So let's talk about it for a second. Let's see what how did you feel with that 5-minute brainstorm?
It's pretty good. It's nice to have like a timeline of like I can't think anymore past this, so I'm like think as fast as possible.
Right. Right.
I think it helped having that template because I'm like I don't know what I'm gonna need to know, but I think having like story, character, and setting pre in my document helped. So
Yeah, it did. Yeah, okay. I mean, I like where this is going so far. All right, I see what you're going for. Now we are going to start the 20 minutes. In just a minute here, if you got to shake off a little bit, if you got to get some water, if you got to do the hokey pokey, anything that you want to do, we can do it before I hit this 20. You feeling good?
yes.
All right. All right. Now we are hitting the 20-minute timer. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're out of here.
Okay.
We got 8 minutes on the clock. No pressure.
Okay.
You're doing good. You're doing good.
Okay.
3 minutes on the clock.
Okay. I was like, please don't say it's time.
You still got time.
Okay.
Right, let me get this timer out my ear. Okay, look. And you were worried about it. Look how much you got. To me, I was like, where you were going with things. Like I could see where you were going with things, and even without having a lot of time to look back and like do any type of revisions or anything like that, just straight, going through. You still did a good job.
I was like,
Literally.
I couldn't really think of anything to go with this because I don't know what hibachi. Like I've never been to one of those restaurants, so I'm like,
right. That's
think of things.
Yeah, that's the thing too. But see, even never being, to one, you still was doing your thing over there. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
So now you know what time it is. Now
I have to read it.
now you're gonna have to read it, and you know what? I want you to read it with your heart and soul. Because we want to feel this. We want to feel these words that you wrote down right here.
Okay, I'll try.
All right, I believe in you.
Okay.
Get some point.
Gotta get hydrated first.
All right.
Okay. I did not think about the title again, so it is still left as robbery in the kitchen.
That's okay.
Okay. Steve flipped the shrimp back and forth, back and forth. It was a habit at this point to cook his signature dish, but today it was not. Sweat dripped down his back, goosebumps prickled under his uniform, and his mind was a mess. What if he kills her? What if the sweet couple's baby gets hurt in the crossfire? What? Sir, the shrimp is burning, Jan, a petite blonde across the bar from the grill, intoned. The noise of the restaurant came rushing back over Steve. Damn it! He scrapped the shrimp, the burned pieces far too gone to be salvageable. The tall man next to Jan, Elliot, side-eyed the chef as he patted their daughter's wild curls down. The couple had slipped in about 20 minutes ago, a mere 5 minutes after the masked man had slipped into the back office with his wife in the safety-locked safe. None the wiser to Steve's worries. They'd ordered 2 shrimp specials and some rice for their little one. If only he'd locked the door, or had installed the security system his wife had been nagging him about all winter. Sorry, folks. This girl has been running a little hot lately. I'll get started right back on your order, I promise. He set his spatula to the side, his legs already striding for the back room for his supplies. He passed his office door, the lack of a window both a blessing and a curse. Just grab the food and go. He marched on. He only had to cook this nice family their meal, and then they'd be on their way. Then he'd lock the door and flip the open sign around. His little family-owned restaurant was his bread and butter. The white building reminded him way too much of a hospital, so he and his wife had painted black accents and the siding black to give it a bit of a more lively feel. She'd even suggested other colors to add, but Steve knew he didn't want anything taking away from the big grill he basically lived at every day. He grabbed a new bag of shrimp and headed for the grill. He already had pre-chopped veggies and everything else he needed to make a special, but he'd finished off the last of the shrimp. A laugh that made you smile because it was so pure echoed around the restaurant. Steve rounded the corner, his feet falls heavy as he pulled up short at the grill. The little girl's dimples flashed at her as her mom played peekaboo with her, but the husband, Elliot, had his eyes glued on Steve, his brows pressed together in almost a unibrow. Steve took in the rest of the room, thankful no other new patrons sat at his bar. Only 30 more minutes.
Okay. And you know what? That's why I like to have y'all read it in your storytelling voice, because it adds a little bit of, like we're sitting around the campfire. You see this fire right here on the screen?
Yeah.
And we just telling stories. And I felt like, I don't know, like, how do you feel about this with the time that you had?
Pretty good. There's a couple places, like, I realized there was a couple words here and there that I either left out or needed to take out that were a little repetitive. But I feel like for not giving a lot of time to rework it, it sounded fine. It could be better, but it's still pretty good for 20 minutes.
It is. I think it is. Anyway, if you had more time, what do you think you would have done? Like, where would you have went with this?
That's the thing. I didn't know. I was discovery writing. I was just going. I would maybe bring it along that the husband that was in there with his wife and kid would maybe be an agent of some kind, and could help Steve with the robber in the back.
Okay, so that's why he was looking like he already knew something was going on. Because why is you sweating like that on the shrimp, and why are you burning all the shrimp on the damn grill? You know what I'm saying? You're not even paying attention.
No, you got 3 patrons.
Right.
And you're burning the shrimp.
I see right through you because I'm a damn agent. That's what he was thinking in his head. He's an agent. He knows trouble. Look, see, you got even the perfect little side thing going on. Okay. Yeah, I was thinking, like when you're talking about the safe and stuff, I was like, okay, so maybe this cook, obviously he's nervous and something's going on in the background, like something that he knows is going to happen or is happening. And he's looking at this little girl and he's like, why can't she just come like another day? Why do they got to be here? Because there's trouble brewing. So like I felt like where you're coming from with the story. I like how your storytelling voice is in this for just that time frame too. So yeah, You did really good. Like, look, like you got me over here, like, feeling the story and stuff like that.
The 20 minutes went by fast because I was just immersed in this new little world.
Right. It goes by fast. And especially, that's why I say, like, if you're ever having trouble with writing in general, just set like 15 to 20 minutes to the side and just write whatever. And you'll just, you'll find yourself wanting more time. And it just opens up like the river to creativity for whatever you need to do. And I do it all the time. So that's why I think this is fun to do.
Yeah. It's a great tip.
Dang. So now look at that, guys. And now if you want to think about it, what would you name it? Like now that we're looking at it right now.
Oh, I don't know. I kind of like the title, but I feel like I would change up kitchen to match the setting a little better as him being that sort of chef.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
But you know what? It's all right because you already did the story and you did a good job. Either way that it goes, I'm proud of you. Oh my gosh. And y'all be nervous and look, y'all kill it. Let people know, where else can they find you, like social media wise, YouTube, Instagram, whatever you have, where they can come look at your stuff.
So I'm on YouTube as Araya Writes, and I think Instagram on Araya Writes, and then I have a TikTok, but that's all listed on my on my YouTube.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's where you can find me. I have a lot of writing vlogs about my process, just very real, like in the moment. This is how my writing is going and my revising. And I do have some other videos coming up soon, so I'm trying to post on Fridays, but we'll see.
Okay. Is there any like advice that you would give new writers or aspiring writers?
So I think the biggest thing that's helped me is to not only like set goals and timelines for yourself, but to just not think about the self-doubt and everything and just like work in your project. If you have to do something else first and then come back to it, do that. Just find your own routine, whether it's listen to music while you're writing or jamming out before you write. Maybe sometimes you need to go for a walk. Don't be afraid to change things up and just figuring out what works for you and don't think about anything else. Like having a timeline helped me because I did like finish my book in 60 days. And I think putting a timeline on it, I stopped going back and editing and I just finished the first draft and just wrapped up my writing that way. So I think it's just good to figure out what works for you and don't be afraid to adjust when you need to as well, because life happens.
Right. And that's some good writing advice. Well, listen, I really enjoyed having you on here today. I don't know what it is about your presence, but you're so like, I don't know if it's like bubbly or what, but my cheeks literally hurt right now because like you don't even have to say anything. I don't know what it is, but you just make me smile for some reason. So I just want to let you know you got a great aura about you, and I appreciate you coming on. I like your content on YouTube, so if you've never watched it before, go check out our YouTube. Great vlogs. Thank you for coming today, though.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Of course. So that was Araya. Definitely go subscribe to her channel because I absolutely love her writing vlogs that she posts, especially her 12-hour writing challenge that she did. I enjoyed talking with you. I enjoyed watching you in the process. My cheeks hurt because you're such a happy person and I enjoyed having you on my podcast today. We'll have other interviews coming up next Sunday, so tune in and hit that subscribe button. Thank you.